Hello, hello, hello. You have entered into the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa LaCon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, we'll be right back. Stay with us. You are entering the Urban Suite with Dr. Lisa LaCon. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Let's talk about mental health. Woo! We are back, and guess what? I am feeling so much better. I thank you, my urbanites, for your prayers. I thank you so very much. So, we're on this trip talking about delusions. Last week, I talked about grandiose delusions, and this week, I'm talking about erotomanic delusions. Oh man, put your seatbelt on. You are in for a bumpy ride with this one. You can't believe what is going to happen when you enter the Urban Suite and when we talk about these delusions. So we'll be right back after our BMI spot. We'll be right back after our missing person and a very new sneak peek. Stay with us. Urban Tools for Change Network is sponsored by Bless Ministries Incorporated, BMI, the premier workforce development agency in the state of New Jersey. We are here to serve you. If you have a history of being on parole, if you are on probation, if you are an adult with a disability, if you are a youth with a disability and you're looking for employment, come check us out at 973-733-WORK. So again, BMI sponsors Urban Tools for Change Network. All right, so this is our missing person segment. So for those of you all who are new to the Urban Suite, every night I do a scheduled event. I will always highlight someone missing. And tonight is no exception. So tonight we have, let's see, unfortunately, Janiyah Walker. I have my glasses. Yes, I do. Thank God. Janiyah Walker. All right. So she's been missing since, listen to this, June 23rd, 2022. She's been missing since June the 23rd, 2022. And tonight is what? October the 11th, 2022. She's been missing from Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Listen, what do you call yourselves? Wisconsians? Milwaukeeans? I have no idea, but listen, I need you to like, I need you to share this information. She's been gone too long, gone way too long. Listen, so she's only 15, you guys. 15. She's a female. She's Black. Her complexion is light. She's 5'3", 110 pounds, Black hair color, shoulder length, and her eye color is brown. Listen, my urbanites, I need you to listen to what I am getting ready to say. And if you can, read my lips. All right. So she was last seen on about 2:30 p.m., June the 23rd, near the intersection of East Reservoir Avenue and North Buffum Street. Jania's mother said her daughter suffers from depression and PTSD, is shy and likely in a vulnerable state. Listen, this is someone's mother. Someone's mother is talking about this. This is someone's child. I cannot imagine, nor do I want to imagine going through this, knowing that my 15-year-old daughter is out there and she has a disability. And what did I say last week? I said many of those that are missing, that are young, have some type of disability. So the circumstances of disappearance, this is rather long. In a recent interview, Jania's mother said she remains frustrated that Milwaukee police have not classified her daughter as a critical missing. The designation means police release info to the news media, and the case is investigated by the department's Sensitive Crimes Division. Despite Jania being a missing child, police said her calls did not meet the criteria for critical missing status. Now, let me bring something to the forefront right here. All right. This is why I do what I do, because we cannot, unfortunately, rely on the mass media. We cannot rely on them. It's up to you, my urbanites, to share this information. Isn't this Milwaukee, Wisconsin, rather, where Jeffrey Dahmer was, and no one cared about the uninvited being missing? Isn't this the same state? So fast forward, how many ever years later, 30 plus years later, here we are again. This 15-year-old child is missing since June. And according to the mother, the police are not really overly concerned. So I need you all to do me a favor. Again, I need you to share this information. Please share this information. If you know anyone in Wisconsin, you know anyone in Florida, you know anyone in the DMV, you know anyone in any main state, which is big, they have a metropolis, please share this information. So anyone with information, you can contact the Milwaukee Police Department, and that number is 571. That is the area code, 571-245-4855. Let me say that number again. I'm going to repeat that number for my Spotify, my iHeartRadio, as well as my Facebook podcast, the audio podcast. That number is 571-245-4855. And you can contact BAMFI, Black and Missing Foundation Incorporated. And that number is 877-97-BAMFI. Listen, let's pray for her family. Let's pray for her found safe recovery. Let's bring Jania Walker home. That is so sad. So sad. So, now up with our sneak peek, a very new one. Take a look. All right, so, and that phase is called fantasy play.
Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island!
You would pretend like you're something else that you're really not.
We could dress up in little costumes and pretend we're getting married.
I would pretend that I was married to certain people.
So romantic.
I would just pretend.
Just kidding, I'm fine.
That I was married to one of the most, he was so handsome, Franco Harris. Look at that. Oh my God.
Jack Tatum deflects it right into the hands of Harris. And he sets off, and the big 230-pound rookie slipped away.
I fantasized about someone else, Jim Kelly. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. Look at that. Oh, my. Matinee show, and Jim Kelly was there, and then he would do something with his jaw, like, Oh, my gosh. He used to be my pretend husband. While they are the ace, Boone Coon.
Another thing that goes in line with that is the idea of fake it till you make it.
In this game, you gotta fake it until you make it.
Chocolate ice cream does not motivate me at all.
Not a fan.
It's just not my thing. It's not my thing.
But if you receive attention that you like and you get a shot of that dopamine, you're going to continue doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, it's killer.
Can you pass the potatoes?
Bring them back to earth. Bring them back to earth.
Bring back to earth.
What the hell are you talking about?
So look, I'm going to fake it till I'm... All right, so you saw that sneak peek. That one was referencing what I discussed last week, grandiose delusions. So I said when I was a child, I used to have this thing called fantasy play. And most children have fantasy play, whether you dress up cops, robbers, some type of job. I used to pretend that I was a teacher, a lawyer, something like that. So it's fantasy play, but I knew when to stop. All right. So my fantasy was I was married to Franco Harris, number 32 of Pittsburgh. Yes, of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And also Jim Kelly. Oh my goodness. So I was about 10 years old. So tonight we're going to talk about erotomanic depression. And erotic manic depression, this is really interesting because these are false, fixed beliefs that someone is in love with you. It is a false, fixed belief that someone is in love with you. So the difference between what I did as a little girl, I imagined that I was married to them. But listen to this. This is key. I did not imagine them being in love with me. And that is the difference between a grandiose delusion and erotomanic delusion. You actually believe there's a false belief that someone is in love with you. And the person that you believe, even though it is false, they may not know your name. They may not know you exist. They may not even be thinking about you. But in your mind, you have convinced yourself that this person is in love with you. And there's no evidence to show that this person is actually in love with you. So let's break this word down, erotomanic. So the primary word to this is eros. Eros is a Greek word meaning sensual or romantic love. So you have the erotic city, that Prince song. Remember, erotic is very sensual, things of that nature. Okay. So, and then you have manic. Now, what is manic? Manic is someone who is in a state of being deranged. They're overly excitable as well as, overly energetic. So then you put those two together. Okay. So you put a deranged romantic love. And that's what erotomanic is. It is based on nothing but a false delusion that, guess what? Someone is in love with you. Now, people with schizophrenia, they have this trait. They can have this delusion. I used to work with a client of mine, and she knew for sure that John Denver was in love with her. She, in her mind, because she was diagnosed with schizophrenia, in her mind, she really believed, number one, she was married to John Denver, and number two, John Denver loved her back. When in actuality, John Denver had no idea who she was at all. And then oftentimes when people are diagnosed with this delusion, in a sense, what can happen is they will tell people that they are in love with X, Y, and Z. I'll say Johnny, and that Johnny is in love with them. But the reality is, Johnny doesn't know who they are at all. So, say for instance, when I grew up with my fantasy play, and I assumed that I was married to Franco Harris. As I grew older, if I would have kept that belief system, it could have turned into, you know what? Franco Harris is in love with me. I never met Franco Harris. Franco Harris never met me at all. And I think what Franco Harris is probably 70 years old. And I've never, ever met Franco Harris. But the person with the erotomanic delusion, they will definitely believe, because remember what a delusion is. A delusion is a fixed belief, a fixed belief. So when I talk about a fixed belief, it is something that is difficult to undo in the mind. And it is not amenable to change in light of conflicting evidence. Meaning, I don't care if you give the person 100% proof that this person is not in love with them, that this person is married to someone else, that this person has no idea who they are. In their mind, they still will believe that this person is in love with them. And they will have fantasies. They will fantasize about this person. Now, also, what will happen is not only will they have these fantasies, but they can have sexual fantasies and start to please themselves while thinking about this person. It's very, very, very interesting, this delusion. It really is, because this delusion oftentimes can be proven to be false. It definitely can. And then what can happen is, can you imagine if, we'll say Diane and Johnny, if Diane really believes this and Johnny may physically not accept anything, what we can see perhaps is one of the personality disorders that we talked about, which is borderline personality disorder. Because this person does not, in their mind, want to be alone. So when they are rejected physically, and the person is like, no, I don't want to be with you. No, I don't know you. This person may start to behave in a way that is very, what should I say? Abnormal in a sense. They may start to, what do you call it? Spy on the person, look up the person, see what the person is doing, kind of weird things. So if you meet someone that has this type of condition, all right, erotomanic delusion, is very challenging because the things that we talked about the last time, you have to listen to them and you cannot outwardly challenge them. Sometimes you may want to change subjects, move on to something else, or just say, you know what? I don't know about that, but I do know who really loves you, who really cares for you. Because oftentimes the person with this particular delusion have been outside of schizophrenia, outside of schizophrenia, have been, they have felt abandoned and betrayed. And they internalize that. And then they create this fantasy world that someone who will, in a sense, really never reject them, they fantasize about that. And then that is their comfort and their safety zone to have this false belief. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, outside of schizophrenia, some people know that what they are desiring, what they believe is not true. It is a very interesting delusion. It really is, that it can take over your whole persona, whereas you will assume that you're someone's wife. And then what happens, or what can happen, you don't allow anyone who may really want to know you better, love you in your life, because you have put up a roadblock. And the roadblock that you have put up is based on a delusion. So it's a very interesting delusion. Curtis, you have any questions or anything?
Hold on a second. Yeah. I was gonna say, I ran into a similar thing, uh, being a person, a marketing director for a popular artist. I had to deal with for years a person that thought they were married to him that never met
Oh.
him before. Yeah, so that was the
It's
same kind
scary,
of,
right? It's scary.
yeah, because she said a lot of crazy things over the years, that I was working with him, that might make you think that she might do something to somebody,
Right.
that challenged her belief in it. Because at first, like back then, I used to argue with her. Actually, at first I used to argue with her because but so I wasn't trying to help her or anything per se. I just was trying to stop bad publicity and stuff like that. People saying stuff that weren't true and stuff like that about the artist. But over the years, I became more sympathetic to her because I realized she was, not right in the head. At first, it wasn't. I didn't take it like that, But then when
Right.
I realized she wasn't, right in the head, then I became more sympathetic to her.
Right. So she probably was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Right. Right. Right.
And typically what happens is they are attracted to people like that, like celebrities, artists. Like I was saying, my client, she really thought that she was married to John Denver and that John Denver loved her back. Whereas that was not the case at all. John Denver had no idea who she was or anything. And then the word I was trying to think about was stalking. They can start to stalk. And then what can happen is if they see evidence that the person is interested in someone else, they can then engage in very harmful behavior targeted to the person who they will assume is not allowing the person that they think is in love with them from pursuing them.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it was, this was maybe over 10 years ago, whatever like that. So the internet was a way for people to get in contact with people like almost directly,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it would give them that illusion that, you are like, you could be somebody's friend on Twitter. You could be their friend on Instagram. You'd be like, I'm in a relationship with this person.
Yeah,
You know, and
absolutely.
it'll make it seem more believable to the person because you're in close proximity because of the internet.
Right. Which is kind of scary when you think about it. And you brought up a very good point with social media, like, the tweets and things. A lot of celebrities, they do tweet, and they tweet individually to some people, and
Mhm.
sometimes they tweet to a whole group. And like you said, you can take that on and say, oh my gosh, this person is tweeting about me and this
Right.
person is in love with me. And then that's
Yeah.
that's it.
So again, social media is we might have to start. We have to do some kind of series on social media or something because it seems to be at the root of a lot of, I don't know, bad behavior or you know.
I think social media can definitely increase the bad behavior, because think about this. Say, for instance, if there are 5 people that really think that about an artist, that the artist is in love with them without social media, just
Mhm,
5.
mhm.
So now social media has allowed the playing field to be open to 10,000 people.
Right.
So out of those 10,000 people, you may have maybe 100 people versus the 5 people. So now you have more people exposed to it than before. So it can be a very dangerous thing
And
to
it's
get
negative
caught up.
and it's negative reinforcement too. It's giving the people the negative reinforcement in a sense, like those likes and stuff, or seeing those
Absolutely.
tweets that the person mentioned them or something like that.
Yes.
It's reinforcement, but it's gonna be negative for that person.
It's going to be very negative for the person. And the person who, say, for instance, Johnny has no idea about what this person's belief system is. No idea. So Johnny is doing something, innocent, PR stuff,
Yeah.
trying to get more likes, trying to get more followers. A movie is coming out, whatever it is. Johnny's doing the marketing thing. But this person really believes, because Johnny, pinpointed that person, shot up a like based on the comment, and then now, oh, you done open Pandora's box.
Well, again, you might have to think about doing something, and I hope they teach this, a whole bunch of internet etiquette and stuff to the kids because they're like getting exposed to a lot of stuff that I don't think ever were really exposed to when we were their age.
No, absolutely not. I did a show last week talking about social media and dopamine and things of that nature. I'm not going to go into great depth tonight, but I will do a show about it. And the difference is, again, exposure. So when we were bullied as children, there were maybe about 10 to 20 kids that knew, maybe your school or whatever. Now with cyberbullying, you have, depending on who you are and how many followers you can have 100,000 people know that you're being bullied.
Right, right. Yeah. So it's just all around. It's just so many
You're
pitfalls and
yes,
so many bad things that can happen because of their interactions on social media. So
right. Your life, you're in a fishbowl. I call it the fishbowl effect, because basically everyone can see what you're doing, because number one, you allow people to see what you're doing. And number two, because social media, it reaches to countries that I can't even pronounce.
and the
It's
algorithm
not just
encourages it.
right.
The algorithm encourages
It
the
encourages, and
sharing.
also the platforms in and of itself with the advertisement encourages. They're like, you post more, you get more likes, you get
Yeah,
more followers. So
yeah,
post more, get more likes, get more
yeah,
followers.
yeah.
Post more, get. It's like, oh my gosh.
So addictions. I mean, we might have to talk about it in relationship to addiction too, because I'm sure there's
Absolutely.
internet addiction.
Absolutely. And what feeds addiction is the one that the thing is there, whatever that substance is there, and you have to have it. You have to have it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very powerful. Very powerful. It's social media, like I said, anything that man touches can be perverted. However, social media on the flip side, has
Oh, yeah.
connected people together, families together, friends, and things of that nature. You look at the positive aspect to it.
Oh, of course. I think the positive outweighs the negative.
I hope so.
It creates so many jobs and makes it possible for business to happen all around the globe. I mean, that's like pulling people out of poverty and everything.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, I mean, I feel like knives on the whole are positive things, even though you can kill people with a knife, but they're used for so many more positive things, though. Like when
Right.
people eat food and stuff like that. So it's the same
Mhm.
thing. Like the internet is so much information, everything. So yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of positive. I feel it's just that
I'm wo I wonder what happened with that young lady. Like, did she get the help that she needed or
I don't know. This was before. I don't know. This was probably a little bit before people were even recognizing or like
Mhm.
admitting. Let's say admitting, like younger people and stuff like admitting that they needed that kind of help and stuff like that. And people just used to go into that inside their own little bubbles. We're from a
Right,
Latin,
right. Especially in the urban community
right. That's
with
what I was
the
gonna say.
Black community, mental illness or mental health issues, we really didn't talk about it, especially
Right.
10 years ago. Like it was, you just looked at it as this person is a dime short.
Yeah.
Um, they didn't reach the elevator didn't reach the top floor. We didn't really look at it as a disability. It was just kind of odd to us. And sometimes people made fun of it, and it was like, oh, that's just so and so. That's just how
Right.
she is. But now and I think what you said is interesting. I think social media has, although it has contributed to suicidal rates and things of that nature, I think social media has also contributed to the fact that now we are more aware
Yes. Yes.
of mental illnesses,
Mhm.
of these mental health challenges, because you can Google it, you can TV shows, it's no longer taboo. And I think in the Black community, mental health issues was seen as something taboo, or it was seen as something demonic.
That has changed over the past couple of years.
Yes, it
That
has.
definitely has changed for the Black. I mean, it's still not where it necessarily should be, probably, but like people don't fully get all the help they probably need. You know what I mean? People still, you know, do whatever their own home remedies to solve their mental problems and stuff like that. But at least people are more aware, and shows like this give them awareness that these kinds of conditions are even out there for them to even ponder whether that they should, get some treatment
Right.
themselves for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I said something earlier about the person outside of them having schizophrenia. They may also have the underlining issue could be fear.
Mhm.
They really fear being rejected. So, based on that fear, what they do is they have this imaginary world in their mind where they will never be rejected ever again. And it's very interesting about fear because last week we talked about fear and we went through a lot of the phobias because October is
Right.
spooky fest month and
Spooky
things of that
season.
nature. Spooky
Spooky season.
season.
Yeah.
Spooky season. So let me bring up something that I read. Let me see if I have it right here. This was very interesting. Very interesting. Where is it? Let's see. So this is a major studio, amusement park. Listen, I have to put my readers on. All
There's
right.
no shame in that. There's no shame in the
I
game if you
know.
teach readers.
It's called Halloween Horror Night.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
Maybe.
This amusement park presents one of the nation's most elaborate Halloween celebrations with Halloween Horror Nights. They have a scream team. Listen to this. They have a scream team and they actually research the human psyche and its deepest fears. so that Halloween Horror Nights guests can confront their most terrifying nightmares. Isn't that interesting?
Well, but you got to remember that's at like Disneyland or something. So it is to that a certain degree, but that's not like one of the worst ones. That's like the more commercial one. That's like at Disney World. But they do, try to scare people because people that want to come there and get scared and they want to have fun. It's
Right.
fun.
So there are specially designed haunted houses, inescapable scare zones, and hundreds of street performers. But it was so interesting. They have a scream team where they research the human psyche and its deepest fears. So, with that said, let's look at these phobias and see
Okay.
what the scream team researched.
Mm-hmm.
So, the fear of wasp. I can't even
Sure.
pronounce that. Scecophobia,
Or
sphecophobia,
spexophobia.
phexophobia,
Yeah.
the fear of wasp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, chronophobia, the fear of the future.
Technophobia.
Technophobia, the fear of technology. I
Oh
think my mom
Lord.
had that. She still had AOL.
You remember AOL? It used to have a little discs that came in the mail and
Oh
stuff.
my gosh, it was awful.
This is a. Uh, can you even attempt? I think we did try to pronounce this one before. Didascalinophobia. Didascalinophobia.
Oh, you're doing very well. I think you practiced these words.
Yeah, we went over this one before. We saw this
Oh,
one.
okay.
The fear of school. How many people have
Mm,
that? How many kids have that? You
I
know.
loved school.
Actually, I did too.
I loved it. Okay, what is this? The fear of loud noises.
Yeah.
Ligrophobia? Ligrophobia?
Like agoraphobia. That seems sort of reasonable. There you go. That's the one I was saying before. How do you pronounce that?
I have
Nostril.
no idea.
Nostil.
Nosocomophobia. Nosocomophobia. The fear of hospitals.
Yeah, and that's number 81 out of 100. So that's not as common as some of the other ones, but I think a lot of people have that fear. They might not admit it, but a lot of people have a fear of hospitals.
Shadophobia. The fear of others' hair. What? Oh, I just had a wild thought.
Giraskophobia, the fear of getting old.
The fear of fat people?
Cacomorphobia.
Phobia. What?
Yeah.
Bathophobia, the fear of depths, lakes, tunnels, caves.
Now have you ever now this let's just go on that real quick. Like people do market fear, but you gotta remember fear gets marketed in so many different ways because those same amusement parks, all of those rides are based on fear. I mean, they're colorful and they don't have skulls and everything on them, but they're supposed to twist you around and make you feel like you're about to die and spin you off and throw you up in the air. Like you know what I mean? Like normally, if that was to happen, you would, normally you would be dead if you fell from a height like that.
Right. Well, that's how powerful fear is because you can
Yeah,
monetize off of it.
they monetize it. They monetize that. But I was gonna say with this one here, the bathophobia, people do it all the time. It's not just with that. What's the purpose of skydiving? Like,
Well, I
what's
want to
the
skydive. I do want to
but,
skydive.
but what's the purpose of it besides the adrenaline of the fear of being almost about to
I
die?
want the wind to blow my hair.
You can just drive down the highway and do that. What are you talking about? What the hell are you trying to call, man?
All right. I want the wind to blow through my mohawk.
Look, so I was gonna say, so with skydiving is the same thing as like the people that be spelunking. You know what spelunking is?
Is that climbing caves or something?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Why would you do that? Like, why would a no like why does a person want to do that? that's just like facing danger for no reason. Like
Well,
climbing
like
a
you
mountain.
say, adrenaline. It's and people want to confront their
Run
fear.
around on a track or something. How come they can't keep their feet on the ground and get adrenaline?
Well, that's boring.
Oh my word. All right. All right.
Pseudodysphagia, fear of choking.
And we'll hit the last one, number 74.
Okay,
Now,
so we have the fear of belly buttons. We missed that one. Omphallophobia.
Mhm.
Omphallophobia, the fear of belly buttons. Well, you don't have to see everybody's belly button.
No. But maybe when they do see them, then they freak out a little bit.
What? Okay.
But you know,
My mind is going like,
sometimes people do have weird looking belly buttons, though.
yeah, that's true.
There's nothing to be scared of, I don't think. But they do kind of,
Pogonophobia, the fear of beards.
yes. I don't
I
know.
can see that. I can see
Really?
if, like, yeah, if someone, say for instance, if they were younger or whatever, and they were attacked by someone that had a beard, they're going to
Mm.
associate everyone with a beard as being that person who's
What about
violent.
Santa Claus and stuff?
Oh, well, he looks creepy.
The kids love Santa Claus.
Yes, sitting on his lap.
The kids supposed to love Santa Claus, though, I thought.
Oh my gosh. All right. So listen, we talked about erotomanic delusions. And when you have this fixed false belief that someone is in love with you, and one, they may not know who you are, like they may not know your name. Number two, they may not know you exist. Number three, they may just like you as a person, but they have their own thing. You are doing yourself a disservice on so many levels. Number one, you can't open yourself up to someone who may really want to love you. And I think oftentimes outside of schizophrenia, it is rooted in fear of being rejected, which is internalizes as abandonment and betrayal. So if you know someone or you yourself, you believe that this person who is maybe a celebrity because they tweeted you once or twice, that you're in a relationship with them, that you're in love with them, and they're in love with you, you need to maybe seek professional help about that. And also, when people are in love with you and vice versa, you tell the world. Who has that person that you claim is in love with you? Who have they told about your love affair? Well, you can make up something, but nope, it shouldn't be done in secret. It should not be done in secret. So, outside of everything that we talked about with this particular delusion, again, it is very challenging. Challenging. You don't want to, and that's the word, you don't want to challenge them. You don't, because you end up in a rabbit hole. You end up in a rabbit hole. So, with my client, she said these things. I listened to her. And then some people were like, well, John Denver, he lives in Colorado. And then she'll say, well, we have a house in Colorado. Like you can't get out of that rabbit hole. You cannot get out of the rabbit hole, especially if they, in a sense, do not have schizophrenia. And if they do have schizophrenia and they are taking their medication, it may be a little subdued, but internally they still may believe that. So again, you want to respect what they're saying, not outwardly challenge them and say, you a lie. No, how you going to be married to? No. Just understand that that person has some type of disability. And with that, they need help, but oftentimes they're in denial about it. That's why it's so challenging working with people with these fixed false beliefs. It's very challenging. You keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like I said, the best thing you can do is just listen to them, respect what they're saying. Don't be rude at all. Change the subject, move on to something else, and just pretty much accept who they are and what they're saying. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to change their mind. So, next week, which delusion do you all want to, Curtis, which delusion do you want to hit up?
Wow. Well, we still have to do referential, nihilistic, and somatic.
Referential. We'll do referential. That's a very interesting one too.
So that's next week.
Referential delusions next week in the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa LaCon, where you laugh, learn, cry, and grow. Good night. God bless. Stay safe. Molly, take us away.